We've had Jan Dougan join us here on WJTS in.form to talk about healthy lifestyles, and we're going to talk about how to build a healthy plate in this edition of WJTS in.form. Thanks for joining us. Joining me in the studio is Jan Dougan. She is the Du Bois County Educator for the Purdue Extension in Du Bois County. And Jan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. It's great to be here.
You don't realize, but the things that you have said on this show have really caused me to change some of what I do. I know sometimes now I look at the contents on boxes of what's in the food, the dietary fiber, the vitamin C, is there a lot of sodium, things like that. But then when I get home, sometimes it's a little difficult to remember how to build that healthy plate. So let's talk about what can we do to build a healthy plate.
Okay, we're going to do that today. And one of the things we want to start with is what plate are we using? So we're going to use a smaller plate to build a healthy plate. And that just helps us with portion control, because for some people that's what they have trouble with. They're just eating too much, or maybe they're eating too much of foods that aren't nutrient dense, or those foods that give us more nutrients for less calories. So start with a smaller plate. And then when we have this smaller plate, we want to put a variety of foods on that plate. Think color.
Okay.
Think color. You want to put a lot of color on your plate so it looks appealing. We don't just eat with our eyes. We eat with our eyes, we eat with all of our senses. And so we want to look at that as a really colorful plate that is going to entice us to eat more. So half of this plate, half, should be covered with fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
So let's...
That doesn't leave much room for the meat.
Well, actually, only a fourth of this plate should be covered with your protein source, which may be meat, it may be fish, it may be beans or eggs. It doesn't have to be meat, your protein source.
Okay.
And we really want to encourage people to actually think about their protein source and mix it up. So sometimes we want you to have, chicken, turkey, sometimes ham, beef. At least twice a week we're supposed to be having fish as our protein source. So there's a lot of different options out there. There's tuna fish, there's salmon, there's tilapia that's very popular right now. So a number of ways that you could do that, but think that could be one time at lunch and one time at dinner. It doesn't have to be 2 dinners, but at least get 2 portions of protein from fish every week. That's a good thing to do.
Okay, now there's a quarter left.
There is a quarter left. A quarter of that plate then should be your whole grains.
Okay.
And we've talked about whole grains before, and we're encouraging people to eat more whole grains. And whole grains, you can only tell if it's a whole grain by looking at that label on the package. And if the word whole, W-H-O-L-E, is on that label, then you know it's a whole grain. Oatmeal is a whole grain, so that's a good choice for breakfast. Brown rice on this plate would be a whole grain. Whole wheat pasta on our plate would be a whole grain. Lots of different choices. Barley, polenta. I had polenta just the other night. It was delicious, and that's a whole grain. So try to get more whole grains on the other fourth of your plate. And then actually there's another food group that we're missing that sets off the plate. You know what that is, Bill?
That would be dairy.
It is.
Yay.
It's dairy. And hopefully dairy prices won't go up too much, and that we'll still be encouraged to get our dairy. And what we want you to have a serving of dairy at most meals, because we need 3 servings every day to build those strong bones. We don't think about our bones very much because, we don't see them, but we use them all the time. You and I are using them to sit. Right? We use them to walk, we use them to run. When we break them, or when we have problems with our bones, then we think about them. But dairy foods help to build strong bones, so we want to have our dairy every day.
Okay.
What kind of milk do you drink?
I usually drink the whole milk.
The whole milk.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Yes.
Do you know that there's vitamin D in every kind of milk, Bill?
No, did not know that.
Yes, there is.
Is there enough vitamin D in all of them?
Yes, there is. Milk, whether it's fat-free milk or whole milk, has vitamin D and calcium, which is what you're drinking the milk for. The difference in the milks is the amount of fat in the milks. So if you can just step down just 1 step down, so if you're a whole milk drinker, if you could just step down to 2%, that's going to be healthier for your heart and healthier for If you have cholesterol issues, healthier for you for that. So, you know, just stepping down one, or if you want to drink that whole milk, but then use 2% or fat-free in cooking and in soups and in other things, that's another way. Or making pudding, you know, you could do it that way. Just to try to get a little less of that fat every day.
I would have to be weaned off of whole milk. Because to me, there is a difference between whole milk and 2%, so I guess I could gradually bring myself to that.
There is. Now, in blind milk taste tests, what we've discovered is that if the milk is very cold, it's hard for people to tell the difference. So maybe if you put ice in your 2% milk, that would help. And, you know, people just really in the blind milk taste test, they really can't tell the difference when it's just one step down. Now, if you go from whole milk to fat-free milk,
okay, sure, I can see that.
By looks, by taste, people can tell the difference.
That is interesting. Did not realize that. Well, I'll have to try and work my way down a step on the milk.
I had in a program that I taught, and we were trying to encourage people to change the milk that they were drinking and just step down one. I had a lady who said her husband would never, ever change. So she figured out a way to do it. She changed the lids.
Well, that's what it is.
On the milk gallons. And he never said anything to her, and he never knew that she did it. So she was determined to find a way, and she found a way to do it, and she reported it back to the class 4 weeks later that she was a success. So it can be done with the hardest person.
What about if you're not a milk drinker? For some reason, you just don't really like milk. Does yogurt count? Does cottage cheese count?
Yogurt is a good source of dairy foods. Cottage cheese, different types of cheese. Yes, there's a lot of things other than milk. Milk just seems to be the easiest way to get your dairy. But yeah, there's a lot of ways you could do that. So if you have pasta on this plate and you put a cheese on the pasta, that would be your dairy.
Okay.
Or if you put cheese on your vegetables, that could be your dairy. So you could melt a piece of the 2% cheese single on your vegetables, and then you'd have your dairy. So there's a number of ways you can do it. But we want to mix up this plate. We want to have foods from all the different food groups. We want to try to avoid extra fat. Now, we need some fat. You know, fat helps keep us warm, and that's important at some times of the year to help keep us warm. So, but we want to have healthier fats. So we want to have olive oils or canola oils. We can use some butter, some margarines, but we just don't want to use a whole lot of it, just in moderation. Okay? So using a smaller plate will help. Using all the different foods from the different food groups will add a lot of variety. It will keep you from getting bored. Encourage everyone to try something new every now and then on this plate. So when we think about new things and half the plate needs to be fruits and vegetables, I'd like to encourage everyone to try some new vegetables.
Okay, now, you know, I can take a small plate like this and stack it pretty high.
You could.
But I shouldn't do that either, should I?
You shouldn't.
How do you know it's the right amount? Like, you know, if you're going to eat broccoli flowerets, is it 3 or is it 4? Is it 5? How many is there a set rule for that?
There are set rules for serving sizes, and usually a cup of broccoli is a serving size. Different fruits, you know, a medium-sized fruit is a serving size, but a cup of strawberries is a serving size. It varies. There are resources online that you can find what those serving sizes are, but think of your meat or your protein should be the palm of your hand. So that's not a very big piece, or a deck of cards. You can think of a deck of cards and visualize that on this plate. That's not a very big beef steak, is it? Or pork chop.
But if you put cheese on it, then you get your dairy. but it still doesn't change the portion of the beef, I guess.
No. But, you know, we just need to maybe eat a little less of those foods and eat a little more of the fruits and vegetables and whole grains that we have on our plate.
And really, if you're using beans or rice, or if you're using a lot of vegetables, it kind of makes up for the feeling you get of not getting enough food by eating a smaller steak portion, for instance.
It's true.
But you're really, probably on most people's plate, what's happening is this much is a steak, this much is vegetables and this much is beans.
You just described the American plate.
Okay, yeah, but we were with a healthy plate, so you should be, a quarter of it then would be the meat. You're still really getting the same amount of food.
Yes.
Volume-wise, maybe.
Yeah, you are. And actually, those fruits and vegetables, I find that they fill me up more quickly, and they help me to stay satisfied and feel full. So I think it's important to try to focus on those. And that's the area that we don't do such a good job at. Think about, especially when you're traveling or when you're eating out, where are all the fruits and vegetables? They're hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to focus on getting it. So one of the ways that you can build a better plate is, we all like to snack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have something in between meals, and snacking is a good thing. It really is. Sometimes people want to say, well, snacking isn't good. It adds a lot of calories. Well, you have to choose a better snack. So if you choose a fruit or vegetable for your snack, that's one step towards a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, eat some baby carrots would
Right.
be better than eating the chips.
An orange, an apple, something that actually, when you think about fruits, they were the first fast foods. All you have to do is wash them and eat them. There's really no prep to them. So, just think about planning to have those things for your snack, and that will be a healthier lifestyle.
When you talk about, fresh fruits and things like that, now you can buy banana chips.
Yes.
You can buy apple chips that are freeze-dried. That's more available now than it used to be.
Yes.
Does that count? Is that still as
Sure.
good?
Sure, dried fruits count, but remember, dried fruits, the water has been taken out of them, so you get a smaller serving size. When we talked about serving sizes earlier, some dried fruits, it's just a tablespoon or two or a fourth a cup. It depends upon the dried fruit. So, they're great to have, but you have to watch how many you eat. The protein group, a great snack from the protein group are nuts. Because we need some protein, we need a little fat, we get those from nuts. Almonds are a good choice, walnuts, pecans, or mix it up a little bit, but know that just a handful is a serving size. So, would fit in the cup of my hand, that would be a serving size. So we can't just sit and here with the bag of nuts and eat them, because then we're eating mindlessly. We're not being mindful of how much food we're eating, and we're not paying attention to our body and what our body's saying. Because our body actually tells us when we're full and we don't need to eat anymore, but we have to listen for that.
Sometimes we just don't pay attention, do we?
We're doing everything so fast, we're in a hurry to do everything. When, that's a great lifestyle change that people could make, is to just slow down, enjoy your food, eat it mindfully, and really pay attention. And when you feel full, actually our body sighs. When it's full and it's done eating, it just kind of goes. And if you are eating dinner and you feel that, it's time to stop eating. Your body's full.
I have to try and remember that.
It also takes 20 minutes for the stomach to get the message to the brain. So if you go through a drive-through and you order and you start eating before you even pull out of the drive-through, and by the time you get down the block, you're done with what was in the bag, it's not been 20 minutes, and your brain hasn't gotten the message.
So does slowing down make you eat less?
Yes,
or
it does.
It makes you eat less, then thus better?
Yes.
Okay, so I should eat slower too.
Eat slower.
A lot of us do eat on the run.
Yes.
And I mean, occasionally that's okay because you just have to, you're in certain situations. But if you're always doing that, you're probably eating more than you should.
Right. And you're probably really not feeling satisfied, You're just eating and going, and you really didn't take time to enjoy the food. And when we eat mindfully, we not only slow down and enjoy our food, but we also understand and realize where our food came from, and the hands that helped to prepare that food, and the grower that grew that food, and the farmer that harvested that food. All those people in the food chain that put that food out there for us, that it's on the table now, all that is more appreciated when we slow down and eat mindfully.
So, we're going to use that from now on. Eating mindfully.
Okay.
Is that a Jan Dougan?
No, that isn't. There's
Oh,
been
okay.
great research done by Brian Wainzik out at Cornell University on eating mindfully. He's got a website. He's written a book about it. But I think it's a great concept, a great idea that all of us need to pay more attention to.
So eat more mindful, slow down, watch your portions,
Right?
and get variety.
Yes, you got it.
Okay, all right, we're going to talk more with Jan Dougan in other editions of WJTS in.form as we're trying to make your life better and healthier. Jan Dougan is the Du Bois County Extension Educator, and she can be reached at her office if you have any further questions. Thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.